What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It is so great to see you all again, and if you're new to the channel, hi, welcome, and I'm your host, August Markle, aka Mr. Movies, and today is gonna be a day in Mr. Movies history. It'll be my first ever ranking. Now, before we get into this, I just want to let you guys know this is just my opinion. You are allowed to disagree with these picks. So if you actually end up liking Amazing Spider-Man 2, you're allowed to like it. Go enjoy it. I just don't like it, so just enjoy it. Feel free to disagree with me. That's honestly the best part, because the whole point of the name Mr. Movies is movies. I just want to be that sort of guy who just wants to talk with people about movies all the time. So anyways, regardless, let's get into the ranking. Now, coming in at number 9, easily for me, is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Right off the bat, it just has way too many villains. I mean, I do like the two leads. Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone have this nice chemistry that brings a nice, flavor to your heart, and it's just very entertaining to see them on screen. Now, the villains were honestly my least favorite part. I did not really care about the villains. Paul Giamatti's Rhino was just unforgivable. I did not like him at all, and I hope he never comes back again. That is how you make a bad movie. You've got a rhino, a Russian guy, going, "Ah, ah, ah." Wow, that is so cool. I think we should have that in my movie. You could just see a guy on the street going, "Ah, ah," and then Mark Webb's just like, maybe I should put that with the rhino. No one will notice. We did, buddy. We did. And then you got Green Goblin, who... he isn't really that much of Green Goblin in the movie. So, he isn't that much Green Goblin until, the end of the second act and beginning of the third act, so... he wasn't Green Goblin for most of the movie, the way that Willem Dafoe is his Green Goblin, and it just makes no sense that Green Goblin is just Harry Osborn for most of the movie. He needs to be Green Goblin. And then we come to Electro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I love Jamie Foxx. Electro, on the other hand, he got better material in Spider-Man No Way Home, but when you got the itsy bitsy spider reference, the horrible look, I didn't like the look of him in this. It was just all over the place, and the whole plot too, Peter Parker graduates, and then he has to kick 3 villains' butt. But my main issue with this is always going to be the same. It was just setting up a sequel that didn't need to be made, and therefore, it comes in last place. Now, number 8 for me is going to be Spider-Man 3, the final installment in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy. And boy, oh boy, what a mess. So, you were just coming off of Spider-Man 2. Honestly, one of the best superhero movies ever. And then we get Spider-Man 3. Obviously, the big mistake in this movie is Emo Peter. That is something no one wanted, and I don't think anyone will ever want it. And I'm just straight up telling you this now. If Sam Raimi is watching this, probably not, but if you have a chance to make, this is, in case you guys didn't know, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Sam Raimi is gonna direct. And I might give an opinion on that someday, but the whole thing with Venom in this movie, Topher Grace, I mean, he wasn't really a villain I cared about that much, so when you got the wrong character study and just the emo like that, and it doesn't make sense for me for it to be a Spider-Man movie. Three villains. And none of them were done right. It was just, well, I have to say, Venom and Sandman, yeah, I don't really care about those two villains. However, New Goblin was cool. New Goblin was very cool. I mean, he's not like a villain that I would want to revisit, but he was the most entertaining villain for me. And then you have, like, you know, Tobey Maguire in his last time playing Spider-Man until 2021. He just spends the time to show off his dance moves, and I'm not sure if that's what people wanted, so this comes in at number 8, but what puts it above The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is it actually had an entertaining villain, unlike Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the plot was not as bonkers. That's, like, the main thing. Now, coming in number 7, I'm actually not sure about this one. I know that doesn't make sense, but I'm not sure if this movie deserves to be number 7. And that's Spider-Man Far From Home, the second John Watts Spider-Man movie. You were just coming off of Avengers Endgame, which is like the conclusion to the Infinity Saga. Great. It was so well done. The next movie after that is Spider-Man Far From Home. And with me being a big Spider-Man fan, I was just so excited to see this one, because they were putting my favorite Spider-Man villain on screen for the first time, Mysterio. And Jake Gyllenhaal, he did an incredible job. He was great. And Tom Holland, he's always great as Spider-Man. But Mr. Harrington, Martin Starr's character, I just think he's one of the funniest characters in the movie. He got me laughing at every single scene that he had. And it was just great. Those 3 performances were incredible. But then we get to stuff that I don't like. It is an entertaining movie, don't get me wrong, it's entertaining. But you got Peter Parker debating whether or not to be Spider-Man or not, which is just not right at all. And then you got him just wanting to be with MJ a lot more than being a hero, like we saw in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. The Chris Pine Spider-Man. He loved being Spider-Man until he died. Spoiler alert. Sorry. But if you didn't want a spoiler alert, then you should have left already. But in this movie, he loved being Spider-Man. He didn't want to give it up. In this movie, however, he wanted to give up. I think he wanted to give up. He just wanted to go on a vacation, but still, it was just so out of character for Peter Parker for me. And the plot, not the best plot that we've seen in Spider-Man movies. And despite great stuff with Mysterio, Mr. Harrington, and great performance by Tom Holland, it just has things that I can get frustrated by easily in this movie, so that's why it comes in at number 7. Number 6, The Amazing Spider-Man 1, the first Mark Webb Spider-Man movie. And I have to say, I was pleasantly surprised by watching this. leading up to Spider-Man No Way Home, the only Spider-Man movies I hadn't seen were the Mark Webb movies. So I was just like, okay, I'll get my collection, and then I'll start watching the first one. I really like the first one. First one I had a fun time with it. I mean, I was totally expecting to not like Andrew Garfield, like his acting, because I'm so used to seeing Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland on the screen, and it's just like, oh my goodness, what are they gonna do? But it was just great. The Lizard, oh my gosh, the Lizard, he was such an entertaining villain to have in this movie. So the Lizard, I mean, it does get a bunch of things wrong, like Peter Parker's parents. We're not supposed to know who they are, so I guess Mark Webb didn't know what to do with that, but Martin Sheen, he's good as Uncle Ben, but then, the acting by Andrew Garfield in this movie, he's a bit too much like a cool kid to be Peter Parker. He's too cool. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just out of character sometimes, because you got this Tom Holland Peter Parker, nerdy, perfectly character. Even the Tobey Maguire one is nerdy. Andrew Garfield, still nerdy, but he's not like, he's cool. You don't get it. You know what I mean? Like, he's too cool. And the basketball scene says it all. I mean, Flash versus Peter. No. Good stuff I love about this movie. This movie. Not this one. But it gets a lot of things wrong at the same time. So, therefore, it comes in number 6. Now, number 5. Number 5, I might get a few people hating on me. But then again, my ranking, I can do what I want. And feel free to share your rankings down below in the comments. Number 5 is Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man. Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man movie. This one. Spider-Man 1. And I'm about to cover myself up if I just keep bringing out all my Spider-Man movies, but the first Spider-Man has got some good things about it. In my opinion, it's got my favorite Spider-Man origin story. I love Tobey Maguire. He's just this awkward nerd who just one day gets bitten by a spider, his life explodes. That's a good story. And then Sam Raimi, this movie was so important to the superhero genre because after the movie Batman and Robin came out, it like destroyed the superhero genre. And Spider-Man was up next and saved it. It literally saved it, and it's just such a good movie. Green Goblin is such an entertaining villain. You got amazing performances, a plot about like a young kid becoming a superhero. However, I say young kid, but clearly none of the actors were fit to play teenagers. If they were all in college at this time, I think it would make more sense. And I'm glad the later Sam Raimi movies fixed that, but I don't know. It feels a bit awkward sometimes to see a late 20s Tobey Maguire trying to play a like 18-year-old kid, and it's just sometimes it's a bit weird, but overall very fun. And of course the amazing scene where he's in a wrestling match, and immediately after that Uncle Ben dies, and it's just, oh my goodness, so much stuff happens in this movie that's hard to pick your favorite scene. So this comes in number 5, and that's literally the only flaw I have about it. Coming in at number 4 is Spider-Man Homecoming. honestly, I really loved this movie the first time I saw it. I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. And it's still amazing. Tom Holland was this Spider-Man actor we only knew for like a few minutes in Captain America Civil War. And then immediately he's the main character of this one. And we absolutely loved it. He gives the best teenager portrayal of Peter Parker. Not to say that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield didn't get good performances. They did. But Tom Holland literally gives the best teenage performance. And Michael Keaton as the Vulture. I mean, the Vulture was the Spider-Man villain I did not know about, like, at all. I had no idea who he was. So, to have him as the main villain and have this movie be at, like, number 4, that says a lot. Like, Michael Keaton, he carried the movie. Tom Holland, great job. Marvelous job. But Michael Keaton's Vulture, he was so entertaining in the movie. And they made Happy Hogan a character that's not really designed to be kind of a main character. You get the main part in this, well, one of the main parts. Smart decision. Jon Favreau, he's hilarious. Now, I do understand the people that don't like this movie. Has too much Iron Man. I see that, but is it too much Iron Man in a Spider-Man movie? Or is it too much Spider-Man in an Iron Man movie? That's what you guys need to think about here. Because even though Iron Man is in it a lot, is it an Iron Man movie? No, of course not. It's a Spider-Man movie. I sometimes see that, but then at some random points I'm just kind of like, are you guys thinking this through all the way? Because it's literally not what I see most of the time. So, Spider-Man Homecoming, despite the whole Iron Man fiasco, it's a masterpiece. Now, before I get into my top 3, I just want to say I absolutely love doing these videos for you guys. I love talking movies, literally for 20 minutes. So, I just love talking to you guys. Whenever time of the day it is. It could be at 12 o'clock at midnight, or literally it could be right now watching live. So, actually, I don't have any subscribers to do a live video yet, so whatever. I just enjoy talking about movies all day, and I hope it does too. And remember to share your rankings down below in the comment section, because I'll be checking them out. I'll be loving all of them. My ranking is not the right ranking. Some of you might have this movie dead last, but I don't care. You do you. I'm not here to change it. But coming in at number 3, another one that might trigger you by the placement of it. Number 3, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This movie is a masterpiece. It's literally a masterpiece. Trust me when I say this. It is a masterpiece. But the only thing that I found not enjoyable, one thing, made this come in at number 3. And that was, it's not really a big problem, but Kingpin was this villain that we're feeling for. We understand his pain. Are we supposed to feel bad for the villain? He's still a villain. And I know that, that's part of how he was designed, but villains are supposed to be likable by how cruel they are. not by how sentimental they feel. That literally just drives me nuts all the time. But it is a beautiful movie. Absolutely gorgeous. The animation, top notch. And I absolutely love Nicolas Cage in this movie. Nicolas Cage, he does a great job. If you haven't seen this, stop watching my video and go watch it, because you're missing out on a lot. And actually, fun little fact, I wasn't familiar with Miles Morales. So I was just like, okay, cool. Miles Morales movie, multiverse. I'm in. I love both. I love multiverse movies, and I love Spider-Man, so this will be a win-win. It was more than a win-win. It was literally one of the best Spider-Man movies ever made. But coming in at number 2 is Spider-Man No Way Home. The latest Spider-Man movie to come out. Sorry, I had to move my pen. I was getting distracted. I think I'm losing my mind, but I gotta hurry up and finish this. I think I'm losing my mind. So Spider-Man No Way Home. Newest movie to come out. Absolutely amazing. I have been waiting for this movie for years. Ever since I saw Tobey Maguire and God, I don't know. I don't know when I saw Tobey Maguire for the first time. Are you kidding me? Sorry. Apparently, I was moving my desk too much, so you guys fell over for a second, but you're up now, so that's pretty good. And in all honesty, Spider-Man No Way Home. Ding! I'll leave it up. Oh god, this is gonna make you guys fall over again. Alright, let's see if I can do this without not fall over. My 2 big toes are up too to make their thumbs up, so that's how you know this movie is amazing. And Tom Holland is amazing in the role. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming back. Yes! And then you got Alfred Molina, Willem Dafoe, Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is given such a better character arc. Alfred Molina is always incredible. And then Willem Dafoe is so much scarier and so much crueler. Here's why it's not at number 1. To have the entire New York City turn on him. That's not what New York would do to Spider-Man. He saved the world, and then they turn on him. That doesn't make sense. But other than that, the movie is just tons and tons of fun. Second and third act, absolutely incredible. That final battle scene with all 3 Spider-Man, there can be no better Spider-Man scene than that one right there. So this movie has my favorite Spider-Man scene. Is my favorite Spider-Man movie? No. But number 1 is Spider-Man 2. This movie, this one. I'll show my hideous face, but this one is a delightful movie to have with me. It's the first, sequel I remember being like, okay, the sequel can be better than the original. Because for most of my life, I had always picked the original over the sequel. But this was the first ever movie I remember going, the sequel can be better than the original. So, I love the train scene between Spider-Man and Otto Octavius. And unlike Spider-Man No Way Home, New York is here for him. And it's just such a relaxing scene to see New York being like, it's okay. It's perfectly fine. We thank you for saving our lives. And it's such a beautiful scene. And works so well. But my favorite part of this movie will always be the same. It's how relatable Spider-Man feels to the fans. Tobey Maguire gives an absolutely incredible performance. Spider-Man is broke. His girlfriend is getting married. Well, like, the girl he wanted to be his girlfriend is getting married. And he's losing his powers because he's having an existential crisis. That is something that could happen. We could lose our touch in whatever it is because of, like, an incident like that. Spider-Man 2 is one of those movies where it feels like I'm in the movie. And Otto Octavius, one of my favorite movie villains ever. Sorry, but he's one of my favorite movie villains ever. Alfred Molina, incredible job. And I can see why people would prefer Spider-Man No Way Home or Into the Spider-Verse above Spider-Man 2. But in all honesty, I can't see anything above it. It's just too real of a movie that I can just be like, I'm in this movie. I'm on a train. I'm about to get killed. But then Spider-Man saves me. And it's just something to watch whenever you're, like, feeling sad. Like, this isn't happening to anyone right now. It's like you're feeling so mad because you just ran out of money, you're completely broke. Then you watch this movie. And it makes you remember that everybody goes through these situations, even the people who are superheroes. It just makes so much sense that Sam Raimi would want to make a movie that's focused on the real-life struggles of people. And even though I'm just a 14-year-old kid, I can definitely see where all these people are coming from. You are literally dealing with issues where you're being broke. Then you have that movie to calm you down. Even Spider-Man deals with those things. And that's incredible to watch. So that concludes the end of my first ranking. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It's my first ranking. I got a lot more stuff planned. I think for my next video, I might rank all of the Superman movies, so stay tuned for that. And of course, as always, I am Mr. Movies, and it was great talking to you today. Goodbye, everyone.